At the last round of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series, Snowshoe in West Virginia presented mud, rocks, and hills, the toughest conditions of all. Yet Kailub Russell came out on top again. Today, the high-speed motocross track of Unadilla looms. Will it change anything? Welcome back to Racer TV's continuing coverage of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. Jason Wygant here, your host. The hallowed grounds for motocross folks, Unadilla Valley Sports Center in upstate New York. But for the last 10 years, they've been hosting cross-country racing as well, and what a race they have. Kailub Russell leading the field in here as your points leader and defending series champ. The Australian Josh Strang hoping to challenge him. Jordan Ashburn here has been coming on strong. Thad Duvall, the 989, is always fast. The number 3 of Chris Bach, one to contend with. But the bottom line is this: over 2,000 riders will compete today, making it the largest event in the history of this series. But on the very top, you see him in the center of the screen, is Russell. But a bad start for him on the orange with the number 1. He's dead last out of the hole of the XC1 Pro Class. Strang trying to grab the start. No, it's going to go to Paul Whibley on the NFAB Ampro Yamaha. The veteran out of New Zealand is aces off the line. You also have to watch New York's own. There he is in third place. Ben Bowens always comes out here in his home event and contends right off the bat. Speaking of bats, he runs not a number, but the Batman shield on the front of the bike. There he is going by in third. Bowens, lightning quick off the line. The 3-hour race duration, though, could make all the difference for him. We go back to the line, row 2, XC2. This is for the young kids on the 250cc bikes. The big boys are on 450s that we just saw. Big fight for it. John Day out of Cumberland, Rhode Island. These New England natives are comfortable in this upstate New York soil. It's not too far from there, and a lot of them get experience in the very popular Che Day off-road series. A rider down. Now we're into the woods, and they're scrambling for running room. And they have these little 250s pinned. You hear the distinctive buzz of the two-strokes that are popular in this class as all these young kids try to find their way to the front of their class and could potentially compete with the XC1 riders on adjusted time. They will have that 30-second time gap erased. It's the deficit they had off the start, starting in row 2. Kailub Russell off to the races out front. No surprise here on the Unadilla motocross track. And here's what's amazing. You might recall that Russell was nowhere to be seen in turn 1. Couldn't get the bike fired. As you see the Rocky Mountain ATV MC whole shot replay, it's all Yamahas. Bowens there on the right, vying for the whole shot with the Batman logo. The number 5 of Whibley takes it. Russell was dead last, and here we are halfway through the first lap, and he's already into the lead. Unbelievable. Now look at the rider in the orange and purple gear on the inside. That is a motocross rider, Robbie Marshall. Good start for him, and he is second place right now behind Russell. And Ryan Sipes, an ex-motocrosser, up to third. So this track really lending itself to the style of those riders. Whibley, DeLong, Ashburn coming through next, fighting for a piece of the top 5. But Kailub Russell, so strong right now, was in a knockdown drag-out duel for this series championship last year and this year with his factory FMF KTM teammate, Charlie Mullins. But Mullins now out with 2 broken wrists. Suffered those injuries actually while on a motocross track doing some practice. Now that Mullins is out, Russell, everyone is trying to figure out how to solve this riddle. He is on fire right now. And starting to get away. Tremendous battle behind him. Whibley taking second, back away from Robbie Marshall. DeLong right there in the Husqvarna. Sipes, Ashburn, a little bit further back. Strang, Bach, Takeshi Koikita, and there is Thad Duvall, who has switched to a 450 today, was running a 250 in the XC1 class, where they normally run the 450 bikes. We'll see how that works out for the Honda rider. They're coming through the pits now for the first time today, getting the signals from the mechanics. Marshall losing a few positions. Strang and Bach duking it out. Duvall right behind him. Now back onto the motocross track. The way this course is set up, it weaves in and out of the motocross area, so the fans get a look at the riders every couple of minutes. They dive into the woods and come back out. One of the better GNCC tracks for spectating. But really, spectating is only part of the game here. This is a participant sport. And like we said, 2,000 entries when you factor in all the amateur classes and also the four-wheel to ATV divisions, which we'll have highlights of a little bit later on in the program. Right now on two wheels, it's all about Russell, Whibley, and the rest of the field pinning our cameraman up against that tree as they look for fresh lines and areas to make passes. Emerging onto the motocross track again is Russell. Let's see if he can handle these double jumps here. No problem. Battle raging behind. If you didn't have Russell in this one, it would be an unbelievable race for the lead. Ryan Sipes going for the number 2 spot. Almost goes down. Stay with us. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Back to the action here. AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series. Kailub Russell has such a lead already. He's able to adjust the camera on the top of his helmet as he comes to the pit area. Hot pursuit. Andrew DeLong here in the factory Husqvarna, really starting to come into his own in his first year in the Premier XC1 class. And third is Ryan Sipes. Spent a decade as a pro motocross and supercross rider. Oh, trouble for Thad Duvall. He is in the RideMPS.com pits. And they're working on, that would be the shift lever side of the bike. So apparently a bent shift lever, well, apparently they got it fixed. But that's going to be a tough road to come back from the time he has lost, not only here in the pits for repairs, but I've got to imagine he was struggling to shift gears before that, so he had lost ground already. Here is Russell to the top of the hill climb, leaving these guys behind. How about Sipes? Best performance I feel we've seen from Sipes since becoming an off-road rider at the beginning of this season. Had a long summer break, actually back in the motocross game as a guest rider with the Rockstar KTM team in the Motocross Nationals. And maybe that time back at the motocross track rejuvenated him a bit. There's Robbie Marshall. Great showing early for the motocrosser. Like I said, though, the 3-hour format is tough to get used to for a lot of these guys. Here's Duvall on the comeback trail. Got that 450 working right again, but how much time did he lose and can he make it up? Certainly going to be hard to catch this guy. Russell is absolutely dialed in today. DeLong got a nice confidence boost, third at our previous race in West Virginia. He was in tears on the podium celebrating his first ever top 3 performance. This guy's come a long way in a short amount of time, virtually unknown just 3 years ago. DeLong, as you see Russell here still out front. DeLong made his name winning a bunch of races in the XC2 division, has now been bumped up to the Premier XC1 class, and is starting to show he has the speed to run with the big dogs. Still in second, Ashburn and Sipes chasing him. Whoa, and Whibley just able to put the Yamaha in front of Bach. Takeshi Koikita here out of Japan on the number 12 in the hunt. What a race we have, again, for every position except the one out front. Marshall not quite losing touch with this pack either. But then it's all style on the motocross track for Kailub Russell, who is starting to build an early case as maybe one of the all-time greats, although a little mistake there in probably the most routine corner this entire track. But Russell is already climbing the ladder of the all-time win list in this series, and obviously aiming for his second championship. Look at this battle raging. Ashburn got Sipes right behind him, and DeLong right in front of him, and he makes the pass. Obviously, this right-hand corner more difficult than it looks. Russell and DeLong making a mistake. Now here we are on the uphill, and riders are down everywhere. Lap traffic going to be a huge factor today with so many entrants. Russell able to escape. Chris Bach up to the number 2 position on the Rockstar Johnny Campbell Racing Factory Honda. DeLong pushed to third. And lugging that Husky to the top of the hill. Nicely done. Here comes Sipes. And you hear him yelling at the lap traffic, and he's now lost it. It's come to a stop, and when you stop on those hills, it's so hard to get going. Josh Strang, Koikita, Whibley, all taking advantage. Ashburn as well. Oh, a heartbreaker for Sipes. Here's Duvall trying to make the pass. the camera always belies how steep these hill climbs are. You come to a dead stop on them and try to get going, it is virtually impossible. So Sipes loses probably 5 positions with that one mistake. Headed back toward the finish line area, going to log another lap. I think this will be the end of the 3rd lap. Russell continues to gap the field. Bach looking good into the number 2 position and by himself, looking for his first podium performance of the year. And this is a team that's new to GNCC Racing, so they like what they see. Can Chris Bach keep it up? Racer TV is brought to you by Amsoil, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Giving you highlights here of coverage, round 10 of the Amsoil Grand National Cross Country Series. Let's show you what it looked like on the ATV side. Chris Borich, you just saw him, he's the defending series champ, but Walker Fowler here has been coming on strong as of late, as is this man, Adam McGill. They have begun to push Borich in ways that he has not been pushed over the last 5 seasons. He has emerged as champion of the 4-wheeled set. Off the line today, a lot of the young kids battling for the whole shot. It's been a theme of the year, but eventually McGill will put his RacingPowersports.com CST Tires Honda into the number 1 spot, pushing the young guys back a bit. McGill won the last race at Snowshoe in West Virginia, was hoping to carry that momentum today, but he would be hard-pressed, as would anyone, to hold back Walker Fowler. Fowler didn't get a great start, but he would quickly work his way here into the number 3 position. Between McGill and Fowler, Braden Henthorn, 2nd year as a pro, definitely showing the potential to mix it up with the establishment to win races. But Fowler back here, the number 3 spot, was on a mission. He had been closing in on Borich in the series standings until a broken chain at our last race set him back. So he quickly took the lead today and set about pulling away from the field. And with riding like this, pulling away is exactly what he did. Borich was quickly to the number 2 spot. Normally, the champ waits until late in the race to put on his best charge, but he could not afford to wait today, not with Fowler riding like this. But as hard as Borich pushed, Fowler had an answer every time. He kept getting further and further away. Borich and the Maxxis back Suzuki, digging deep, trying to get back into contention. Now, normally the champ takes any challenge that comes his way in stride, but there have been rumors in the pits as you watch McGill in 3rd that even the champ knows that Fowler is coming, and Fowler with a great pedigree, multiple championships in the youth and amateur ATV divisions. Everyone knows that if this number 2 rider figures it out, he could be number 1 someday. It was a similar position that Borich was in years ago. He does not want to let the kids start building confidence. So at the halfway point, Borich really turned it up. Fowler couldn't get the gap to be any larger than 20 seconds, and Borich just hoped that the young kid would make a mistake. Now, in the past, Fowler might have tried things like going for that huge double jump there, or other risky business. But today he wouldn't err, so Borich was going to have to dig deep, trying to make things happen. Now, one ally that Borich would have usually is lap traffic. As we mentioned in our bike show earlier, 2,000 entries on hand this weekend, and also the Unadilla track a little shorter than most of the traditional GNCC rounds at only 9 miles. More traffic, fewer miles. That means lappers are normally a big deal, and Borich was going to hope in the second half of this one that the lappers wreaked havoc on Fowler. Meanwhile, 3rd place taken over by Jared McClure, young rider out of Maryland, getting closer and closer to maybe getting his first ever race win. But it's going to be tough for anyone to win the way Fowler is riding. Borich put on a very strong charge down the stretch, but Fowler handled the pressure and the lap riders like a veteran. And with a fist pump there, you knew he had this one locked in. Disappointed after breaking a chain in our last race while leading, he picks off right where he left off before that incident and takes the win. That's 3 out of the last 4 for Fowler. Could have been 4 out of 4 if not for the mechanical troubles the last time around. A big hug from his dad. Borich gave it everything he had. Lap traffic, they thwarted him at every turn. But even he has to start wondering what's it going to take to hold back young Walker Fowler. Of course, the bad luck for Fowler at the last race still gives Borich a sizable points lead, but 3 races remain in the GNCC series this year, and anything can happen, and even Chris Borich knows it. McClure would follow up with a solid 3rd place finish, and again, one of these days, this rider is going to get a victory. That's our ATV coverage from upstate New York. Here's your Amsoil results. Chris Bithell, a good ride through the pack for 4th. The young kids like Shadron and Neal come up 5th and 6th. Yoho, Henthorne, Josh Merritt, and Johnny Gallagher round out the top 10. Racer TV is brought to you by Amsoil, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and by Can-Am. Back to our motorcycle coverage. Kailub Russell continues to rule. This young man is a second-generation talent. His dad is a former AMA National Enduro champion. Has a huge hand in building these courses now, so Kailub has to run a program separate from him to avoid any controversy like that. He shows up on his own, races with the factory KTM team. He does not get any advanced knowledge the way these courses are set up, although the way he's been riding, you'd have to almost think it. But he's shown talent through the ranks. Multi-time youth and amateur champion in this series, and a lot of people knew that this day was coming when he would become a dominant force. Now, other riders have come through in other directions. Thad Duvall up to the number 2 spot. He, like Russell, was one of the all-time greats of youth and amateur racing, but Chris Bach back there in 3rd. He's a journeyman who picked up a great ride with Honda this year and is trying to put that machine on the box. He and Duvall on the Hondas, battling for 2nd and 3rd right now, and trying to push themselves closer to Russell. They've got the lead that once was a minute down to about 40 seconds. 35, they're telling us now, as Duvall, who has come from way back, some mechanical troubles early, he has lit up the scoreboard with the lap times. Josh Strang in 4th, trying to catch Bach. So Strang on the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Yamaha, a last-ditch effort for top 3. But try as they might, I don't think they're going to have time to catch Russell, who just pulled away early. Here is Duvall. Great riding still on the RideMPS.com Honda. He's going to run out of time. And Strang is now up to 3rd. Man, so DeLong, Sipes, Marshall, Bach, they put in such great rides early. There's Bach pushed back to 4th. But it looks like some of the established players who have won races before, late in this game, have something no one else can match, and they're looking to be top 3 today. We're talking Russell, Duvall, and Strang. Time is running out here at Unadilla. Here's Strang. Man, he has shown speed in bursts this year, but it seems like at every race something happens, either a bad start or a good start, and then troubles midway through the race. Today he came on strong late, but had his problems early. When he puts the full package together, he might be able to challenge Russell for race wins. Right now, the number 1 is just aces across the board. Not awesome off the line, but quickly takes the lead, gets to a nice gap, and just maintains it from there. As for Duvall here in 2nd, first race this year on the Honda 450 has gone well for him. He's going to wonder what had happened if he didn't bend that shift lever early. Although it's all conjecture at this point, until someone proves that they can really take it to Kailub Russell for the whole 3 hours. Well, it's just a guess if they can actually do it. These guys are riding well, but Russell has been on another level as of late. Here's Strang in 3rd. Good job on the Yamaha. But now Russell is onto the motocross track for the last time. Closing in on top 5 all-time in wins, and he is only 24 years old, looking for his 2nd straight title. And by the way, no one has won back-to-back titles in this series. It's all the way back in 2008 when David Knight did it. So a lot of different pages of the history book that Kailub Russell is looking to adhere his name to, and he takes another step toward doing that with a dominant run out here at Unadilla. Kailub Russell wins his 7th race of the year, and it's only round 10. It's over, and they wait at the finish line for Duvall. Great run through the pack. He had to make a lot of passes and expend a lot of energy to make up for the early troubles. He's done it. He is 2nd place on the Honda. I thought Bach might make it to 2 red bikes on the podium, but a good strong run late in the day. Here is Strang, the Australian. Going to put the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Yamaha there. 3 hours of riding. These guys have to be exhausted. Plus, they're dealing with the lap traffic all day long, which makes it a mentally tasking event as well. There is trying to lock down the podium. Now, all of a sudden, the big factor down the stretch was the XC2 riders. Remember them from earlier in the day. Here's the AMSOIL results. Top 10 of XC1. Bach DeLong top 5. Wibley, Quikita, Ashburn, Sipes, Benor round out that top 10. But Grant Baylor, 4th overall on adjusted time, beats everybody but Russell, Duval, and Strang on his little 250 coming out of row 2. And here are your championship point standings. The idle Charlie Mullins has now been leapfrogged by Strang for 2nd. But Russell has a shot at wrapping up the title at our next race in Pennsylvania. One thing left to do, it's our AMSOIL race recap. Kailub Russell stuck on the line. Bike didn't start, so he is dead last. A bunch of Yamahas battled for the whole shot, but it did not matter. A few miles into it, Russell had taken the lead, and he was gone. Similar story to Thad Duval. Mechanical troubles early. He'd fight back through the field to finish 2nd. Josh Strang overcoming some early troubles as well to finish 3rd. And how about Grant Baylor, the young kid out of South Carolina? Here he is, winning the XC2 division. He is looking for his 2nd straight title there. Russell, Strang, and Duval celebrate on the podium. We want to thank you for watching Racer TV. Congrats to our winners.